Miami, Florida is known for its beautiful beaches, beautiful people, relaxed lifestyle, and turquoise water. But what do you do when that water, the very commodity that helps make it a gorgeous city, starts becoming a problem?
It's something that, obviously we do know from measurements that sea level is rising. Even if it's just 6 inches, that's 6 inches of water that you didn't have 20 or 30 years ago.
One of the byproducts of climate change is the rising tide. In Miami, the sea has risen by 6 to 8 inches over the last century, with about 4 inches of rise since 1992 alone. This new normal means that cities have to react to mitigate the problem. South Florida is so close to sea level that even the slightest elevation rise has its advantages. The king tide occurs every few months when the moon's gravitational pull is strongest, and it's led to seawater spilling into the streets on a quiet, sunny day. But in a city that's known for raising the roof, Miami has decided to raise the ground. Miami Beach has an average elevation of about 4 feet, with portions of the island barely topping 2 feet above the water. The Sunset Harbor neighborhood was recently re-engineered to be 2 to 3 feet higher than it was only a few years ago, and you can spot new versus old based on elevation. There's also a network of massive pumps across Miami Beach that take any floodwater and push it back out to sea. We caught up with some of the city workers who were draining rainwater from those pipes, and they told us that the pumps have greatly decreased the flooding. The city has spent more than $400 million on these projects, and so far it's been a success.
Mitigation saves money. For every $1 spent, saves $6 in damage and cleanup. So it makes good fiscal sense.
Back here in Connecticut, we caught up with Giovanni Zinn, the city engineer for New Haven. He and his team have been setting an example by getting ahead of the problem.
One of the challenges you have with sea level rise is that you have a moving target.
That's why they're working on a project at Long Wharf called a living shoreline. And what's that?
Where you use engineered natural ecosystems to provide that protection.
So essentially it's using the power of nature to fight back against the power of nature. Giovanni says they've looked to places like Miami for inspiration, but also cities a little closer to home.
On rainwater, for example, we've taken New York City's green stormwater infrastructure approach, which are these bioswales that you see throughout downtown. In academia, you're not supposed to copy people. In government, we copy people all the time, right?
So while the types of storms can sometimes be different,
the nor'easters are just as big a problem as the hurricanes.
Both Miami and New Haven have set an example for coastal communities dealing with a changing landscape.
This isn't something theoretical in the future, it's now, and we have to deal with it now.
And that investment in nature is paying off for those who live in the Elm City, not just in the form of protection from storms, but also cheaper insurance premiums, saving you money. New Haven residents can get a 15% discount on flood insurance due to the measures that the city has taken to protect them. I'm Dan Amaranti, Fox 61 News.